Hello everybody, I'm Lisa and welcome to Sew Day, a place to share the love of making. I love to sew and I love to knit and I really enjoy sharing that love with other people. Today I am super excited to share with you 3 finished sewing makes, 1 finished knitting project, and 1 super exciting knitting project I have in the works. So let's start though with what I'm wearing. I am wearing Andrea Mowry's Weekender sweater, a super fun, easy knit. This one is made in Rowan's Kid Silk Haze, held with Rowan felted tweed. A really nice, I think, fabric. I love the subtle variations in the color. I love the texture. It does get a little toasty warm, so on a cold day like today, it's a good thing. Some days, though, it is a little hot for me. But yeah, that's what I'm wearing. So let's talk about what's hot off the press in my sewing room. The first thing is the Clayton woven shirt by Style Arc. So this is made in fabric from Minerva. It is their, I have it written down, so let me make sure I get it right. It is their Minerva Core brushed cotton black wash tartan. The fabric was fantastic to work with, like really easy to work with, which I really appreciate in what was kind of a complicated make. You know, it's funny, it was complicated. I don't know that it was complicated. One reason is because I swear the video that Whitney has made on Tomcat Stitchery is just like the best, and it has made what I thought was a really difficult make a really enjoyable, nothing really too hard about it make. She has incredible tips, like, I mean, sewing a placket that was cut on the bias and having it look like not too shabby, right? Other little details that she incorporates that I wouldn't have done if I had just followed the pattern. Again, bias binding to finish the hem, and so the curve of my hem is something I'm not embarrassed by. Yeah. What's something else? I know. Another thing that Whitney has you do is just the little finishes that make a garment look elevated. Here, if you can see can you see that? I can't see it, maybe you can. Yeah, there's some top stitching on the shoulder seam, not called for in the directions of the pattern. Yeah, and on the side seams, a nice little finished detail. So yeah, the fabric was great, a joy to work with. Thank you, Whitney, for making that a true statement. I will say that I did learn something about the pattern. A couple of things that I wish I had known before I started. I don't know if it would have changed much, but just would have been nice to know. The first is that the Clayton comes in 2 different fits. There's the classic and then there's the relaxed. The classic is what I chose to make. I wanted to wear this primarily underneath things, and so I thought just having something a little closer to my body would be easier to plop things on top of. But that means that in that version of the pattern, there's no yoke on the back. I found out I like a yoke. I think it just makes it slightly more comfortable in back, because usually you get a little bit of, you know, after the yoke, you get a little kind of pleat back here, which gives you just a little bit more room. I kind of miss that in this shirt. The other thing is there are no bust darts in this. I'm kind of busty. And so I think my perfect shirt pattern would have those bust darts and would have a yoke. The final thing, which is, I mean, it's minor, but it's a thing, is the seam allowance on this shirt is 3/8 of an inch, which means that when it comes to like sewing the side seams, if you're really trying to get a really nice finish on the inside, your options are a little bit more limited. If it were a 1/2 inch, it would have been much easier to do a flat fell seam or a French seam, which would have been really nice. I ended up doing a faux flat fell seam. It's so hard to say. A faux flat fell seam. It's fine, you know, but if you're going to be super particular about the inside of your shirt, you might want to choose a pattern that has a 1/2 inch, right? But overall, I'm really happy with it. To achieve the matched plaid, I did cut everything on the single layer of fabric. I didn't fold anything and then cut two, and that just allowed me to match up the plaid. And yeah, I wasn't sure about the frill. You know, the Clayton does come with lots of different variations for the collar. And like I said, I've said before, I'm not a frilly girl, I'm not a ruffle girl, but I thought it might be fun just to try. And I kind of really like it. So super happy. I am going to make this again. I'm looking for, I think I just like it in like an ivory or a white. I think it'd be super versatile to wear underneath sweaters and vests and things like that. So I'm on the hunt for some fabric for that. I think I might keep the collar, maybe keep the fit, but maybe change a few things up. So that's my first make, my Clayton woven. The second one was, well, there's a story here. I have been having the darndest time finding buttons. I mean, Miss Joanne's for that. I finished my blouse. I had no buttons in my stash that worked. And so I tried to order some from Amazon. I wasn't happy with them. They were, frankly, I just ordered the wrong size. I'm not super happy about ordering all the time from Amazon. I like to support, you know, there's companies and things like that as well. But in a pinch, I went to Michael's, and Michael's, I mean, it was so sad. The rack where they have the buttons, I mean, there were like 3 lonely packets of buttons, you know, kind of dangling in the wind. It was a very lonely, very, very lonely button aisle, so I wasn't able to find anything there. So I asked my husband, hey, do you have, you know, an old shirt that you haven't been wearing that maybe I could like steal the buttons? And he was like, well, I do have this Brooks Brothers. I have to find out, you know, what year this Brooks Brothers shirt goes back to. I have a Brooks Brothers shirt that the arms are just too short and I just can't wear it. Would you be interested in that? And I took a look at it and I'm like, yeah, but not for the buttons. I mean, it's a gorgeous shirt. So let me show it to you and tell you what I did to it. Oh, that light goes on back there. Sorry if that's annoying. So this started out as an extra large shirt from Brooks Brothers. I took the recital shirt, not the recital shirt, the classic shirt, I think from Lisa & Co. I do like that pattern. I like the fit of it. And I traced the front and back onto 1/2 of the shirt, cut it out, and then flipped the shirt on, you know, this half over to this half, traced around it, cut it out, and that went all, that was fine. When it came to the sleeves, I don't know how people upcycle. I think it's much more challenging than just going with a straight pattern. But I used the sleeve pattern from Lisa & Co. And I got puffy sleeve caps. We're gonna pretend I meant to get puffy sleeve caps, even though I didn't. But even though it might not be exactly what I was going for, you know, I did a frill collar. Why not some puffy sleeves here? Let's see, I really struggled with it. I put the cuffs on wrong. I did take the cuffs off. I had to make the sleeve much more narrow, and then I had to reattach the cuffs after doing that, and I put them on the wrong ones, so I'd rip a ball out after top stitching everything. You know, it's like, blah! But I did it. I'm glad I did it. I think it turned out pretty well. Yeah, I did. You know, talking about the bias binding that works so well on that shirt. I had some fun fabric. This is from, oh my gosh, Amy Butler. Yeah, she's doing some really cool things where she goes to India, brings back fabric, and I was able to get a fat quarter that I used there. Can you see, like, yeah, let me just show you all my mistakes. Didn't do the best job there. And here's why. Whitney has you sew on the wrong side so you're sure that you can catch your bias binding. This one looks really pretty good. Didn't do that in this one. I went ahead and I sewed on this side. So that means that I missed some of the sewing, Yeah, I'll just show you all the mistakes. Okay. Like there, it's not, I need to go back, I guess, and finish it. I'll kind of confess though that this thing was super fiddly, I think, to do. If you upcycle, God bless you. Please tell me, how you learned and how I can get better at it, because I think it was really, really nice to have. It feels really good, to upcycle and to make do with what you have, and who doesn't want to do that? But boy, the problem solving and the ripping out was really kind of frustrating. So at the end of this, I was like, it's just done. We're going to say it's just done, even though like my binding is really kind of hit and miss. And anyway, we're not going to dwell on the things I wish I had done. We're going to celebrate the fact that I did it. And I think I will get a lot of wear out of this. So that's my upcycled Brooks Brothers vintage shirt. Thank you to my husband, Drew, for that one. Okay, so let's talk about the Frank and Eileen Dublin blazer. This started, over a year ago, where their double-breasted blazer caught my eye, and I was kind of thinking, can I make this? That blazer, and I think the Dublin too, we're talking like $300 for a sweatshirt blazer. And I love Frank and Eileen. I think that their style is fantastic. It's that kind of place I wish I always lived, which is like that casual, cool, hip, if only, right? But $300 for a sweatshirt blazer is like, that's really hard to justify. I think I can make that. And then I saw the Dublin blazer, which I'm like, okay, I know we can make that. So I went through my pattern stash and I have this pattern. It is Butterick 5926, and it's what I picked up quite a while ago. I'll look and see if they still, I think it's still in print, but it's made specifically for knits, but kind of looks pretty similar to the Dublin. Let's see what we can do. I'm gonna grab it and show you how it turned out. Okay. So here we have it. I'm going to tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly with this one too. So first of all, I used the Snuggly sweatshirt material from Guthrie and Ganny. Going into this project, I thought it was probably a little heavy, and I was right. It's a little heavy, but I think it still works. Changes that I made to the pattern were really, first of all, I didn't hem anything, which was it's always nice when you can get away with that. I made the pockets slightly smaller just to accommodate for the lack of seam allowances that needed to be turned under, because these are just all raw seams. And then the other thing is, when it came to attaching the collar, I did not, how you're supposed to do right sides together, turn it inside out and finish it nicely. Didn't do that. I just went with wrong sides together. And something that I learned. Initially, I don't know, I was thinking, sometimes I'm just not thinking, but I initially put in a seam allowance, I think this is 1/2 inch. And the edges were really, really bad. So I went back and just did a quarter, just sewed another, line of finishing 1/4 inch from the edge. And that, I think, really worked well with the helping me achieve the look that I was going for. And I ended up with, we'll say, an intentional double, almost top stitching. We'll pretend I meant to do that. yeah, so that's something that I learned in doing it. When I was putting the collar on, I was a little concerned about, you know, this section right here, but it really wasn't too bad at all. I just went slow and I left a little bit of space there so I could tuck everything in. And then I went back and just kind of finished that up. Oh, some really nice things about this pattern, right? There are back darts, which make, I think, enhance the look of it. I've got something on this, sorry. I've got elbow darts. The pattern has elbow darts, which again, a nice little feature. This pattern, by the way, is really, really good. As far as the make goes, I did find two video tutorials on YouTube. One was from Minerva, and the other one was from Stitched Up. I really enjoy her YouTube channel. And both of them basically said the same thing, and that is make sure that you put every single mark that's in the pattern on your fabric. I did that and I had no problems. I'm really glad though that I had that warning going in, because I would anticipate that if you didn't clearly mark where those markings are for joining the collar and things like that, stopping and starting stitches, especially around that collar, I could see where it would be frustrating. But with that guidance, it was a really nice, easy make. Okay, so the making was done, but I was not happy with the finish of it. It felt a little stiff to me. I wasn't getting that nice edge that I was hoping for. It looked raggedy, and I put it on and my husband said, oh, it's your your hobo blazer, because it looked pretty shabby. And so I popped it into the washing machine. The first run was cold water with vinegar, just to kind of set everything. And then I just did a few washes, hot water with fabric softener, put it in the dryer, repeated. And that did soften up the fabric quite a bit, made it a little bit more of what I was going for. But the edges still were looking pretty like just ragged. I did a little bit of trimming, but then, I don't know if you can see, I took sandpaper and I just went back and forth with a really coarse sandpaper. And I'm pretty darn happy with the way that it turned out. So yeah, let's pretend I saved $300 and some by making my own Dublin blazer. The ugly. We went out to dinner the other night and I wore this, took it off because it was warm in the restaurant, put it over my chair and went, oh yeah. I thought that I needed to press my seam allowance flat because I did want to put this little detail in the back of a seam, top stitch seam. And I was afraid it was going to get too bulky if I finished my seams differently. I don't think it would have. And now I'm left with this kind of like yucky looking. So if you do this, you know, do a nice seam back here. Don't do like I do. But yeah, it's so, you know, don't you just love sewing? It's just so rewarding when you're able to see something and go, I think I can make that. And then you do, and it's just the best. Yeah, that is it for my sewing makes. Next up in my sewing room will be, I really want to compare the Clayton woven, the classic fit that I did with the relaxed fit. So I am going to, next up will be a blue, I'm showing you the thread, a blue relaxed fit shirt from that same pattern pack, but relaxed fit. And then I think I'm just going to do a little bit more classic. Their collar dips down a little bit more than like this one. So I'm going to try that and see how that goes. But please, if you know where I can get buttons, I'll be looking for more buttons soon. So on to knitting. If you watched my first video, God bless you. Thank you. But you know that I am busy with holiday knitting, and one of my holiday plans is to make hats for I've expanded it now. I'm going to be making for my son, his wife, her sister, her mom, and my stepdaughter. So I finished the one hat, and that one was for, I'm actually going to be gifting that one to my daughter-in-law's sister, and then this one is going to be for my daughter-in-law. It is the Take Wing hat. I'll put all of the notes. I can't remember. I'm so sorry. I can't remember who the designer is. But yeah, I purchased the yarn and got the idea at Spun in Ann Arbor. Just a fantastic yarn store. And the, I can't even remember, total blank. Sorry guys, can't even remember the name of the yarn, for Pete's sakes. Oh, it's Woolfolk Far is the name of the yarn. And I do have a little fluffy little pom-pom I'm putting on the top of these. So I got one done. Yay, I'm on track for my Christmas gift knitting. But what am I super excited about? I'm so excited about this one. I got a call from my aunt, my sweet Aunt Gloria, who said that her granddaughter Tierney wanted to learn how to knit, and did I have any ideas? Yes, I have ideas. And so all of a sudden, we have a family knit along. There's my aunt, her 2 granddaughters, and 2 of my cousins and myself. We are all going to be making Florence Miller's Step-by-Step sweater. I have purchased the yarn for it. I have the Drops Fiesta and the Drops Alpaca. You know, I've never used Drops before. I am a little reticent sometimes to use yarn that has polymade in it, and this does. But I really wanted to, be part of something that was in the budget of everybody. When you're in your 20s, you don't want to spend a bazillion dollars on your first sweater, right? But I have made my swatch, and here it is. So what we're doing for the knit along is basically we're following in chunks Florence's video. Sent that out. Everybody has their yarn now. We're posting it on a group text because we all kind of live in different areas. And we're all swatching, and pretty soon we're all going to cast on. Hopefully we'll be getting together, I don't know, maybe late winter, early spring, and just sharing what we've made. But if you or your family has done a knit along and you have any ideas of how to make this inclusive and fun for everybody, I'd really appreciate it. So that brings me to the end. Thank you so much for watching. I was so delighted last time I got a few likes and a couple subscribers, and I was just elated. Thank you so much for watching, and if you want to subscribe or like, you'd really make my day. I'd appreciate it. Yeah, if you love to knit, if you love to sew, if you love to make, please spread the joy. We need more of that in the world. Take care. Bye-bye.